Maggie, a morbidly obese blonde 47-year-old special needs teacher, was alone in a park by herself on a sunny Wednesday. It was like Wednesday, and she was dancing around, putting post-it notes on trees and flat surfaces. And she wrote batteries not included on them in Sharpie. And she used to be a square dancing champion. She graduated magna cum laude from Marquette University. She did a double major in art history and formal logic. Anyway, she worked for several decades in the 80s as a cartoon, which is something that she mentions frequently, how she played the robot Feather, but, because it was a fairly well-known illustration at the time. But anyway, she acted like when she brought it up that she was embarrassed about it, but she was clearly self-identifying as the Feather, and she thought that every flying buzzard monster made out of glittering diamonds named Carl Henderson, all of those various manifestations of non-nothing, was Carl. She knew it was Carl. She never saw Carl, but she knew beyond the shadow of a doubt Carl existed and Carl was controlling it all. And Maggie was tired of dancing and almost out of post-its anyway, so she just laid down on a bench and noticed that the sky was blue, and that seemed appropriate. She got bored of the clouds, and she was mad at how slow they were moving, and she got up, and she felt the urge to do something, so she masturbated, and she looked at the trees. She could usually come looking at the trees, but this time she wanted something fresh. So she came up with like a fucking light bulb, like new idea. She looked at her belly button and pretended it was somebody's other orifice, and totally worked. And she came. But once she had her orgasm and it wore off, she looked behind her and there was shiny glitter in all directions and she was baffled. And then she looked in the sky and there was glitter and ticker tape and confetti and lottery tickets and Cal Ripken Jr. rookie cards, and there's even a t-shirt cannon guy who shot crowds into the shirt, and the shirts had slogans on them like "Cum Rag Mag" and more clever ones than that. I could totally probably come up with a more clever slogan than that. But, I'm just telling you what happened. I would be lying if I did that. And it was a busy parade. Like there's a float. There was all sorts of shit going on because like I was distracted. That's why I didn't come up with a more clever one. Anyway, there was cute little boys and girls in overalls and American flags shorts and socks and Converse All-Stars, and they were burning sparklers and fucking dancing around, and they were black gospel choirs, and they seemed so fun and tasteful. And then there was white people like lonely organ grinder church music shit that seemed way less fun, but still it was impressive that they brought everybody together, under one roof. And all of a sudden, Maggie looks to her left, and there's fucking Ryan Seacrest, and there's a podium, and like they're coming up with a award ceremony. They're just improvising it for her. And then, out of thin air, seemingly, this trophy appeared. It was a perfect replica of her labia and all the other bits. And it just appeared out of thin air completely. And Maggie just thought, oh, Carl, conjuring again. And suddenly, there was a stage underneath Maggie's feet, and she turned left, and they were on a huge platform. Now there were hundreds of thousands of people, and Ryan Seacrest took the mic, and he was talking to the crowd, and he was like, Maggie couldn't hear. She couldn't make out a word he was saying because it was so echoey, because the size now it was just like surrounded on all sides by light as far as she could see. But Seacrest was saying something, and then he goes like this, and he reveals to the left there's this velvet red robe, and then the crowd lit the velvet red robe on fire, and behind it there's a much bigger robe, and this one was made out of white roses and hardened honey and kindle fires. Anyway, she figured, using her gleaning from, deductive reasoning skills, that she should sit in the throne. So she walked over to go to sit in the throne, and there was a guy in a three-piece suit in the audience who was growing increasingly annoyed this whole time. And anyway, this classy fella, He jumped up the rail, he walked up, and he punched her in the face. She got knocked out. But then, from his pocket, he took out some Post-it notes. And on one, he wrote a polite congratulations letter, and then on the other, he wrote a thank you letter. And he did it with a felt tip pen, not a Sharpie. And he posted them on her stomach, and when she came out of her coma, they got married, lived happily ever after.